I catfished one of my high school teachers because he was bullying me. I was told to post this here. This happened a while ago. Some background: he knew my dad because my dad, a lawyer, had represented his ex-wife several years before in a super bitter divorce. For some reason he took out that frustration on me. He would verbally mistreatment me in front of the class. If I raised my hand to answer a question, he would roll his eyes before calling on me and loudly say to the class, "Listen to what OP says, that way you will know what the wrong answers are." He would criticize my work, make comments about how I'll never amount to much because obviously I have a learning disability. I don't. He was just being a prick. I would often get marked down for penmanship, but after asking some classmates, apparently I was the only one being graded on that. I know history wasn't my best subject, but the way I was being treated was totally uncalled for. I began to have anxiety to go to that class. I would dread it all day. My friends would even mention casually, "Yeah, Mr. Smith really doesn't like OP. What did you do to him, bro, haha." My dad was pissed that he was obviously being biased towards me for something I had nothing to do with. Dad made noise and tried to get me moved into another class, but the district and school were over capacity as it was. I couldn't move classes without displacing another student, and the school didn't think that would be fair to the other student, but it's fair to me to let this keep going on because you can't move me, WTF. Now, my dad never discussed details of his cases, but I had overheard him angrily telling my mom, after our meeting with the principal, that he doesn't like that I'm in that fucking pedophiles class. An idea was planted in my head, and it started to grow. I devised a plan. I gathered social media pics of a girl, who was underage and went to another school, and made some profiles on Kik and WhatsApp using a Google Voice number from our city. I changed her name for obvious reasons. Once I had him hooked on the made-up 17-year-old girl, I sent all the chat logs and pics he sent to her to the principal and the school district main office using every email address I could find on the school district website and social media pages. Within 3 days of the emails being sent, we had a sub. All we were told was that Mr. Smith had to take some time off due to personal issues. I still don't know what happened to him after that. I graduated about 3 months after he was put on leave, and never heard from or saw him again. I joined the military and left town about 6 months after this all happened, and have not returned to that city since. One of my friends, who still lives there, told me a while back he saw him working the deli counter at a grocery store not far from where the high school. I never told a single soul, and nobody knows it was me. The rumor mill went wild about him being a pedophile, but nobody knew I had anything to do with it, even though I benefited the most from his departure. I imagine they tracked the girl down and asked her, but she obviously didn't know him. However, the chat logs from WhatsApp show the girl telling him she was 17 about 3 days before he sent the first, of many, pictures of his junk. So that was probably enough to at least get him fired and lose his teaching certification. I don't regret it, but I would never go so far on anyone again. I was a bitter, moody teen. But when you're being bullied by someone with authority over you, you have to do what you have to do to survive. Edit, I am a dude. Edit 2, I have been trying to answer all the questions, so here are some answers to the main ones I'm seeing. In the state this all happened in, the age of consent is 16. Legally he could have hooked up with her. I was never looking to get him in legal trouble, just mess with him enough to get him out of my life. That's all. I agree it was messed for me to use her pics. I was 17, and I didn't know any girls I would have been comfortable asking, "Hey, wanna catfish Mr. Smith and ruin his life?" Also, don't tell anyone. I picked her because she went to a different school across town. I had met her at a couple parties, and she had a lot of mirror selfies posted on her FB and Insta, and I needed it to feel authentic to him. I only needed 8 to 10 selfies, and another reason I chose her was she was blonde with a slender body type. I was able to find many girls on Reddit who didn't show their face and fit that loose description. I used 2 to 3 gone wild pics from one user's account when he pushed me for pictures. I told him, the girl, didn't have any social media because she was into older guys, and they don't want anyone to know, so I don't have social media to make them more comfortable. In hindsight, I feel like he should have been suspicious of a 17-year-old girl without social media, so maybe it's a little on him too. Got his cell number from a classmate, who had it because he was one of the many assistant coaches for our football team. Most of the team had it because they had all exchanged phone numbers at a retreat the team went on the prior summer. I texted him out of the blue, saying I saw him at a football game our schools had played earlier in the year, and I thought he was cute. He felt out the situation at first, but it was obvious after I sent the first selfie of hers that he was hooked. I would only give him a selfie if he really begged for it, and the more he begged, the more flirty I would act. We never romantic texted. I barely knew at that age what to say anyway. I would describe the vibe I went with as awkwardly forward. Also, I never asked specifically for noodle pics. He arrived at that juncture on his own. Caught me off guard when it happened. I texted him using the Google Voice number for a while, then told him my mom read my texts but didn't know about WhatsApp or how it worked. I didn't even make the whole pitch. He heard that and immediately suggested we message on there, and then encouraged me to delete our regular text convo once we were talking there. To this day I have no idea why my dad called him a pedophile. Maybe his ex-wife told my dad when he was handling her divorce about something he did. The tone I heard him say it in lead me to believe that something like this would be worth a shot. Obviously his ex/my dad took him to the cleaners in the divorce settlement, hence what kicked off this whole series of events.
Hey guys, please like, comment, and subscribe. It would really help me out, thanks.
He did it to himself. If you're in that position you know damn well you can't send noodle pics to a 17-year-old. I don't know what the age of consent is where you are. It's 16 here, but you know the school wouldn't care about that even. Here's the thing, though. It sounds like you didn't so much set him up, as give him an opportunity to destroy himself. If he wasn't a pedophile, he wouldn't have fallen for the bait. I absolutely loathe people like that. They take advantage of power over others to mistreatment and belittle. It's beyond cowardly. Tips hat that was very well thought out and executed. I wonder, did your dad divulge to the principal about representing his ex-wife and that was the sole reason for his bullying of you? I wasn't in all of the meeting. While I was in though, my dad made a comment that Mr. Smith was biased for reasons unrelated to me personally or something similar to that. This revenge is brilliant, but I think sending pics of a girl without asking her for the catfish is a bit ducked up. I agree it was messed for me to use her pics. I was 17, and I didn't know any girls I would have been comfortable asking, hey, wanna catfish Mr. Smith and ruin his life? Also don't tell anyone. I picked her because she went to a different school across town. I had met her at a couple parties, and she had a lot of mirror selfies posted on her FB and Insta, and I needed it to feel authentic to him. I only needed 8 to 10 selfies, and another reason I chose her was she was blonde with a slender body type. I was able to find many girls on Reddit who didn't show their face and fit that loose description. I used 2 to 3 gone wild pics from one user's account when he pushed me for pictures. I told him, the girl, didn't have any social media because she was into older guys, and they don't want anyone to know, so I don't have social media to make them more comfortable. In hindsight, I feel like he should have been suspicious of a 17-year-old girl without social media, so maybe it's a little on him too. You rule. You saved countless people from a horrible teacher. You have made the world a better place. Clever. That teacher deserved it. You were innocent. Now find a way to use that intelligence to have a great career and life. You can do anything.